Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel Throneofseal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
Longhaochen shook his head in confusion. The sun and moon divine Snail said coldly. He heard from somewhere that consuming the flesh of the starlight magical beast can grant immortality. Hearing this, Longhaochen felt a chill running down his spine. At that moment, his hands instinctively clenched. The others were equally shocked and pale. Although the sun and moon divine Snail didn't explicitly say it, they clearly understood the implication of its words. Betrayal, he betrayed. His closest companions betrayed those who lived and died with him, and gave everything for him, all for the elusive possibility of immortality. The dark side of human nature was fully exposed at that moment. My second-generation ancestor ultimately couldn't escape the fate of the first generation. However, its inner pain surpassed that of the first generation, because the deepest emotions in its heart eventually led it to become food. When I, as the third-generation Order Guardian, descended into this world, I came with the memories of 2 generations of ancestors. So, I hate you humans. And I don't want to choose humans as the ones I support. I want to choose a more perfect race in this world, to establish a new order. However, I have to admit, the creativity of humans has made this continent very beautiful. If I were to establish a new order, it would likely lead to widespread suffering. As a guardian of order, how could I witness such a situation? I'm even a bit confused. I don't understand why I was born, if the world is so peaceful. Our sun and moon divine Snail clan should become history. Later, I understood the reason for my existence is simple. Over thousands of years of reproduction, indeed, it made you humans strong and prosperous. Society and technology have made significant progress and development. However, the dark side of human nature has gradually been exposed, and all the dark and dirty things have started to surface. Before long, I encountered the one I should support, the son of light of that generation. What angered me is that son of light was still a human. Why still a human? Does God only recognize your race, full of inherent flaws? But I had no choice, I had my own mission. And I finally understand why our ancestors were so devoted to that son of light. The son of light among humans was almost a perfect being, kind, brave, wise, and powerful, almost everything good about humans. I could see in him. Unconsciously, I was drawn to him. Just as I was about to express my full support for him, something happened. It seemed like he experienced some intense stimulus, and suddenly changed. Became mad beyond comparison. Then he ran away, far away from me. At that time, I was very puzzled. I didn't understand what he had encountered, and even now, I still don't understand. But when he returned 20 years later, he had become a terrifying presence, a presence even feared by the gods. That is what you call the Necromancer Saint, Dormant Catastrophe Illisec. Hearing this, Longhaochen couldn't help but inhale sharply, instinctively looking at Holy Guard number 9. Beside him, at this moment, Holy Guard number 9's emotions also appeared highly agitated. Little skeleton, if you know why Illisec became like that in the beginning, could you tell me? Answer this long-standing question in my heart. The sun and moon divine Snail asked Holy Guard number 9. Holy Guard number 9 shook his head somewhat puzzled. I don't know either. When I knew the master, he was already Dormant Catastrophe Illisec, the most powerful necromancer. So, you really are the sun and moon divine Snail from back then. I still remember, you had a conversation with the master once, and then you disappeared. Did the master not tell you at that time? The sun and moon divine Snail shook its head gently. Yes, when he returned, I had a conversation with him. I wanted to understand him, and convince him. However, the Illisec at that time had completely changed. He became hysterical, he became irrational. It seemed like there was only power in his heart, but I could see, his soul was contaminated by something, and his eyes were blinded by hatred. I don't know why he became like that, but I'm sure something important happened to him. I am the spokesperson for order and peace. He asked me to follow him to change the world, to eliminate all the dirt of humanity. But how could I join him in causing widespread suffering? In the end, either of us could convince the other. I could only choose to leave forever, to avoid becoming food like our ancestors. Since then, I haven't seen him again. Speaking of this, the sun and moon divine Snail's gaze once again firmly fixed on Longhaochen's face. So you, also being a son of light, don't make hasty conclusions. It's true, Illisec brought great calamity to humanity. However, I am sure there must be some profound pain in his heart. That's why he underwent such a drastic change in his nature. But in reality, deep down in his heart, yet, the kindness belonging to the son of light still lingers. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let me leave. Nor would he have initiated the undead war later on, never harming a human civilian, only defeating human armies, and massacring a large number of nobles. I hope you understand, behind every event, there is a story. I don't know what the story of Illisec is, but I dare say, it must be a very important story. In the blink of an eye, So many years have passed, everything that once was is no more. And Ilisek is also gone. I know that the demonic race has descended, perhaps as a punishment for the greed and inherent flaws of humanity, and I have sensed your presence. The Son of Light is pure, but the purer the soul, the less tolerant it is of any impurities. I hope to bring to you another quality, and that is tolerance. Regardless of when, facing whatever challenges, if your heart can become more generous, as tolerant as possible, perhaps the world you see will be different. Listening to the words of the Sun and Moon Divine Snail, Longhaochen nodded earnestly, and memorized everything said by this senior who had survived for probably close to 10,000 years. He couldn't deny the flaws of humanity. Though he had just heard of the events that happened with the Son of Light for the first time, there was no doubt that the words of the Sun and Moon Divine Snail had sounded a clear warning in his heart. Thank you for the senior's reminder. As for me now, I can't promise anything to you yet, but I will surely remember what you said. Several decades later, perhaps I will come here again to find you. I hope that by then, I will still be able to stand before you with a clear conscience. Longhaochen's words were sincere, and his companions instinctively looked at him, each one nodding in agreement. At least, since they had known Longhaochen had unquestionably lived up to the phrase a clear conscience. However, the Sun and Moon Divine Snail shook its head gently, sighed and said, Unfortunately, I won't see it. Do you know what I've come to understand over these thousands of years? What I've finally come to understand about our clan, I've finally realized what the mistakes of the first 2 generations of our ancestors were, and in my generation, it's a kind of new attempt. I won't make the same mistakes again, won't see it? Longhaochen looked at the Sun and Moon Divine Snail in surprise, not quite understanding what the self-proclaimed spokesperson for peace and order meant. A hint of a smiling expression appeared in the eyes of the Sun and Moon Divine Snail. Do you know what I've come to understand? Longhaochen shook his head in confusion. The Sun and Moon Divine Snail said, What my first 2 generations of ancestors lacked was a spirit of sacrifice. They forgot that our Sun and Moon Divine Snail clan is itself a source of sin. The temptations from our own selves and bodies, even the Son of Light couldn't resist. Similarly, as a spokesperson for the God of Light, we didn't wholeheartedly devote ourselves to helping the Son of Light. Therefore, I had already made a plan. Finally, I waited for your appearance, so my long life should come to an end. Whatever happens afterward, I won't see it, but there is fate beyond our understanding. I just hope my sacrifice won't have been in vain. Senior you. Longhaochen was shaken to his core, taking an instinctive step forward. No need to try to stop me. No one can stop me. Even a god here would be the same. Young man, although I don't know your name yet, what has moved me is the kindness you showed just now. You still possess the purest essence of the Son of Light. You don't need to be sad because of my departure. I have lived in this world for far too long. My vitality has long reached its limit. It's only the last bit of determination that has kept me alive. Being able to see you at the very end of my life, for me, it is an almost perfect destination. I also hope that I am the last Sun and Moon Divine Snail to descend to the mortal realm. My name is Longhaochen. Longhaochen's fist clenched subconsciously. He could clearly sense, right in front not far away, its vitality was rapidly diminishing at an astonishing speed. Like a dam bursting, this kind of depletion was entirely abnormal, as if its body had long been a thin water balloon, and at this moment, the thin outer wall of the balloon broke, irreparably breaking. Sparkling golden light began to drift from the Sun and Moon Divine Snail into the air. The golden light was soft, gently trembling, with each gentle wave, causing the air to tremble. Rich and gentle light elements emanated, cleansing the hearts of everyone. The Sun and Moon Divine Snail's voice softened and said, Longhaochen, remember what I said just now about tolerance. It is not only for others, but also for yourself. You are the Son of Light, yet still not perfect. Everyone is prone to mistakes, but as long as your true heart remains unchanged, be forgiving to yourself as well. I am leaving. My shell will serve as a solid shield to protect order for you. I hope that my departure today will be transformed into the rulers of morality and conscience in your heart. No matter what you encounter, don't surpass their constraints. If, one day you meet dormant catastrophe Ilisek, give my regards to him. The obsession in his heart will not fade, and true redemption is impossible, even if so much time has passed. The voice of the Sun and Moon Divine Snail became weaker and weaker, until it disappeared completely, and its body became transparent. Soft, crystal-like golden light scattered in the air, then it slowly landed on its huge shell, creating ripples of captivating light waves. 2 lines of clear tears flowed down Longhaochen's face, and he suddenly felt an indescribable emotion in his heart. Right hand across his chest, he pounded his left chest with a resounding sound, paying a solemn knight's salute to the departing Sun and Moon Divine Snail. Not only him, the others also performed the most solemn rituals of their respective professions, bidding farewell to the ancient mythical beast that had lived for thousands of years. The golden light converged, the massive shell suddenly spun around, and with each rotation, its radiance dimmed slightly, and its volume reduced. At a visible speed, after a moment, it shrank into a ball of orange light. The light rose and flew, heading straight toward Longhaochen. Subconsciously, longhaochen raised his left arm, and the orange light, as if having eyes, landed directly on his left forearm. The brilliant holy armor didn't provide any resistance. Longhaochen only felt warmth on his left forearm, and then the warmth quickly spread throughout his entire body. Even in his soul, immersed in this warmth, Longhaochen felt his heart become even more transparent, and all the suppressed emotions in his heart, including the regret he felt upon learning Illisek's origin just now, suddenly disappeared. The feeling of complete transparency, as if he were a newborn baby. His spiritual power did not increase, but when Longhaochen woke up from this immersion, he fully understood how crucial the sun and moon divine Snail's influence on him was. It wasn't just memories and admonitions that influenced him, but also the divine Snail's last vitality that cleansed his soul, although the others did not feel it directly, however. In their eyes, Longhaochen's changes were equally noticeable. The orange light merged with his own being, and Longhaochen seemed to become transparent, whether in gaze, aura, or his own spiritual power, exuding an almost holy and pure sense, especially in Longhaochen's gaze. It seemed to return to the way it was when they first met. Looking at his left hand, Longhaochen fell silent for a moment. Suddenly, he took 2 steps forward, knelt down slowly, and bowed towards the place where the sun and moon divine Snail disappeared. What the sun and moon divine Snail taught him was not just tolerance, but also sacrifice. Guidance of the sun and moon, caring about one's true heart, guiding by the light, protection by the divine, dawn's first light. Sunset's twilight, alternation of sun and moon, the divine Snail as a shield. Rising to his feet again, Longhaochen slowly raised his left hand above his head. A burst of orange light suddenly bloomed, and immediately after, a shield with a diameter of 1 meter appeared, a crystal-clear golden shield, exactly resembling the shell of the sun and moon divine Snail, appeared on his left hand. The shape of the shield, was it not exactly like the shell of the sun and moon divine Snail? Spiraling light circled within, ultimately converging into a point, gentle yet powerful, vast and majestic. This is the sun and moon divine Snail's shield. The golden shield sparkled with an orange glow, indicating one thing, an epic-grade equipment. Among all weapons and equipment, only in the realm of epic grade do they possess unique radiance. The representative color for epic grade is orange, while at the level of artifacts, it differs. Each artifact has its uniqueness, so there is no exclusive radiance. Within the Night Temple, even among the mithril-based armor, only 12 can reach the epic grade, known as the 12 Holy Knights of the Night Temple, second only to the Divine Seal Knights. The current leader of the Holy Knights, Han Qian, was once one of these 12 Holy Knights, but with age he stepped back from active combat, handing over his epic-grade mithril armor, in exchange for a standard one. However, the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield in Longhaochen's hand is a powerful epic-grade equipment. Coupled with the legendary defensive power of the Divine Snail, you can imagine how much the shield increases Longhaochen in Guardian Knight state. This cannot be described merely as a pleasant surprise, it is pure joy. At this moment, Longhaochen's heart is filled not only with joy but also with a heavy sense of responsibility and deep sorrow. Let's go. Giving one last deep gaze to the place where the Sun and Moon Divine Snail once resided, Longhaochen turned away, leading his companions. This time, their gains in the Dark Swamp exceeded their expectations by far, even rivaling the gains they had in the Dream Temple initially. The difference is that this time, the rewards are not as direct as in the Dream Temple. Nevertheless, in practical terms, it might even surpass that previous experience. From the forest serpent to the sawfish, the snake demon, the demon god snake, the king of forest serpents. And finally, destroying the demon god pillar and obtaining the sun and moon divine snail shield, if they can convert all of these into combat power, and after a few years of assimilation, so, it is even possible that it will help them challenge the Emperor-level demon hunting squad. You should know that, since its establishment, this demon hunting squad has experienced less than 3 years. Undoubtedly, Longhaochen and caier, as a pair of dual-core gods favored one, played a crucial role. But equally important, luck has always been on their side. After leaving the cave, everyone's gaze focused on Longhaochen, waiting for his announcement of departure. If they return the same way, undoubtedly, they will have to go through some hardships. The best method is, of course, to fly out of the swamp's poisonous fog, not only for its speed, but also to save a significant amount of time, creating better conditions for them to move away from the dark swamp. Unfortunately, Hao Yu's origin consumes a lot, so he can't fly with everyone. Longhaochen also fell into a brief moment of hesitation. Boss, we just need to fly out. It's just a bit of poisonous fog, right? We can clear a path. Shima Xian said. Longhaochen turned to Lin Xin and said, "Is your spiritual power still abundant?" Lin Xin nodded, indicating that he's fine. Longhaochen said in a deep voice, "All right, I'll be responsible for clearing the poisonous fog. Everyone, maintain formation. We'll fly straight up first, then ascend into the high altitude after leaving the poisonous fog, and then fly towards a distant place. Han Yu, Shima, Yuan, Holy Guard number 12, number 10, you 5 will be on the outer circle. I'll fly at the top, caier, Holy Guard number 9, number 11, Lin Sin. You'll be in the center. After taking off, the central mages. Prepare your spells. Have McDull prepare to release the oppressive aura of the reverse heaven demon dragon. If we encounter any obstacles in the poisonous fog, no matter what kind of enemy, everyone attack with full force, and shake off the enemies, quickly breaking free from the range of the poisonous fog. Understood? Yes. Everyone responded in unison. Longhaochen's 4 wings unfolded gradually, and the others released their spiritual wings, taking their positions as arranged by Longhaochen. A orange light shone on the left arm, and the sun and moon divine snail shield appeared again. In the right hand was the hymn of the goddess of light. This is currently the strongest equipment combination that Longhaochen possesses. Golden halos quickly emanated from Longhaochen, including the halos of faith, protective gift, angel's blessing, and the strong strike halo, all enveloping their companions. The hymn of the goddess of light in Longhaochen's right hand gradually turned into a dazzling white color, and he raised the divine sword above his head, with clear and sacred eyes. Intense white radiance burst out from the hymn of the goddess of light, and the 4 wings vigorously flapped, propelling Longhaochen's body to rise suddenly, and the white radiance erupted towards the sky. This isn't fire, but holy brilliance detached from the body, erupting like flames. Even with the hymn of the goddess of light, it still significantly consumes Longhaochen's spiritual power. However, the effect is also evident. Where holy brilliance passes, within a diameter of 100 meters, all the poisonous fog instantly disappears. Let's go. Longhaochen's loud shout echoed in the air, and the others didn't dare to be slow, following closely behind, maintaining their formation, flapping their spiritual wings, soaring into the sky behind him. Longhaochen's flying speed was incredibly fast, almost instantaneous, and he was already over 100 meters above the ground. He paused his figure briefly, waiting for his companions to catch up. The divine sword in his hand, and the radiance of holy brilliance continuously strengthened, significantly dispersing the surrounding poisonous fog. Soon, everyone had gathered with him, maintaining a steady ascent into the sky. Longhaochen's perception fully opened up. He realized that, after his own heart regained clarity, his perception seems to have become much stronger than before. The poisonous fog inside this dark swamp is indeed dense, and they have been climbing upwards for over 500 meters, but still haven't broken free from the range of the poisonous fog. The distance is filled with a thick dark green color. If it weren't for the illumination of Longhaochen's holy brilliance, it would be a situation where one can't see their own hand in front of their face. Everyone, be careful. Longhaochen suddenly shouted loudly. Then, the orange light on his left hand brightened. Everyone saw a large area of orange light and shadows pouring from Longhaochen's left hand, and in that instant, it enveloped everyone within. It completely transformed their surroundings into a world of orange. What is this? Is this the Guardian Knight's shield wall skill? It can't be. Right? Everyone had the same doubts and astonishment in their hearts. Indeed, what Longhaochen is displaying at this moment is the Guardian Knight's shield wall. Not to mention his companions. Even he himself didn't expect that the power of the shield wall would be so tremendous. Normally, the Guardian Knight's shield wall can protect one side, or the whole body, but the total area won't exceed 10 square meters. It's a comprehensive and powerful defensive skill. When Longhaochen cast the shield wall, he intended to protect only above his head. However, when he infused spiritual power into the sun and moon divine snail shield, the entire shield suddenly burst into a rich orange color. Longhaochen felt that his outward perception instantly retracted, as if it attached itself to the shield, and then the sun and moon divine snail shield autonomously expanded. The original 1-meter diameter shield expanded to a massive diameter of 10 meters, creating a huge orange light sphere, enveloping everyone within. Faintly, Longhaochen sensed that the sun and moon divine snail shield emitted a sun-like aura, and a gentle spiritual energy filled the surroundings within. Indescribable feeling. Being within it, there was an inexplicable sense of tranquility. Puff, 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 puff. A series of collision sounds emerged. Inside the shield wall, there was no change at all. Not even Longhaochen, who cast the skill, felt any impact. Even more shocking was, the orange sun and moon divine snail shield actually became transparent, like orange crystal frost, allowing them to see everything outside. Longhaochen saw that, under the influence of the sun and moon divine snail shield, the speed at which the surrounding poisonous fog dissipated was no less than with the holy brilliance. And the crisis that appeared in his perception was a tiny creature about 3 inches long, entirely covered in dark green, flying insects. The appearance of these flying insects was quite sinister, with large heads, but half of the head was occupied by a wide, forest-white set of teeth. Wings flapped behind them, continuously spewing dark green poisonous fog, attempting to bite through the defense of the sun and moon divine snail shield. Individually, these flying insects were just a joke for Longhaochen and his companions, judging by their behavior, at most. They were second or third rank magical beasts. However, they were small in size, but their numbers were truly terrifying. The entire periphery of the shield wall was completely covered with these flying insects, even though many of them were flung away by the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield during their attacks. Longhaochen and the others still couldn't see the poisonous fog outside. It's not just one or two, but probably millions of these poisonous flying insects. It was only at this moment that Longhaochen and the others realized the most frightening thing in this dark swamp. When the quantity reaches a certain level, a quantitative change will inevitably lead to a qualitative change, not to mention Longhaochen and his companions. Even if Demon God and Dimly were here, they would still be in a difficult situation, with the only way out being a rapid escape back to the surface. In such a situation, the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield showcased its incredibly powerful defensive capabilities. As the shield itself had no offensive capabilities, but it possessed a unique elasticity, soft light elements rippled outward. With each ripple, it could bounce these poisonous flying insects off over a large area. The poisonous flying insects couldn't bite its core at all. At the same time, Longhaochen discovered the spiritual power consumption to maintain the shield wall was surprisingly minimal. In the case of such extensive defense with the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield, Longhaochen's consumption of spiritual power per second was only around 5 points, which, for him with a total spiritual power exceeding 14,000, this consumption was negligible. He could recover it in just a few breaths through the 3 major spiritual consciousness. Full speed, fly out. No matter how thick the poisonous fog, there is an end after all. With the defense power of the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield so strong, it would be abnormal if they couldn't fly out. Under the protection of the orange light, Longhaochen and the others continued to fly up for over 1,000 meters, finally seeing the light of day. As they broke through the encirclement, the poisonous flying insects around the shield wall finally disappeared. However, those concealed within the shield wall all had a feeling of being soaked in cold sweat throughout their bodies. The number of poisonous flying insects was truly terrifying, and it turns out they are the main source of the swamp's poisonous fog. In the dense fog about 1 kilometer away, those poisonous flying insects occupied almost all the space, probably totaling in the tens of millions, if it weren't for the immensely powerful all-encompassing defense equipment like the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield. Even a group of 9th-tier experts would probably end up as food for the poisonous flying insects. During their breakout, when they finally reached the end, even the light around the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield dimmed, evidently corroded by the poisonous fog. If exposed to the poisonous fog for an extended period, Longhaochen couldn't be certain whether the Sun and Moon Divine Snail's shield could withstand it. Moreover, the most frightening thing was, within the poisonous fog, there was no presence of any other attribute elements at all. So, in the middle and later stages of their flight, Longhaochen had to rely on his own spiritual power and couldn't replenish it.